Hello, everybody. Woohoo. Happy Tuesday. It is literally gorgeous outside. I'm so energetic. Life is good. And you know what? In the Midwest, the winters kind of suck. But as my mother says, spring reminds us of why we live here. So I am happy. Everyone is walking to class in like summer clothes, in tank tops and shorts, and everyone's laying out on the hills and on all the different decks. It's a great day. It's also a sad day because I don't want to graduate, and it seems to be all that is consuming my mind lately, and I just don't know how to go about it. Like, seriously, life is so good here. I love college. I love my friends. I love my life. And I'm just, you know what, going through a little bit of a crisis because I don't want that to end. Like, it's chaotic and it's fun. For instance, 3 days ago, my roommate claimed that, and I'm not debunking this, she's probably right, okay? But she claimed that the sink in our bathroom gave her acne. She has gorgeous skin. She had no acne, but whatever. So she called over our guy friend to come fix it. And he couldn't figure it out. He was actually acting like a plumber. Like they had like a radio station playing in the bathroom. It was hilarious. But then right when he was so close to figuring it out, he dropped the wrench down the drain. So the tool that was going to fix the sink, he dropped down and then made the sink worse and needing more fixing. So that was funny. And the best part about this is that under our sink is all of our tampons. So he had to pull out all of the tampons and he was surrounded by all of this shit while the bathroom was like kind of flooding, kind of not. And he's trying to get this wrench out and trying to get this filter on the faucet. And it was just chaotic, but it's so funny. Like little memories like that are hilarious. And I don't want to leave that. Also, before I begin this episode, I want to give a little shout out to Cards for Care. Okay, people, Cards for Care is a little organization my lovely, lovely roommate put together for cards that she makes for patients at the hospital in our town. And it's so cute. She makes them little get well soon cards, birthday cards, and she does them herself, brings them in, and just hands them out. Heart of Gold, so amazing. So, Cards for Care, look it up, DM her, DM me if you want to contribute, or you know what, just be aware of it. It's great. People are doing great things out there, and maybe this is a sign for you to go help those in need. So, shout out Cards for Care. All right, let's get into the topic that I kind of already got into about not wanting to graduate. And at least right now, in my current situation as a senior in college, which the same goes for seniors in high school or those who have graduated or any who are just approaching a new stage of life. We are constantly being asked the question, so what's next for you? What's happening next for you? What's next after graduation? Like, it's so funny because they always ask it like that. It's always, so what's next for you? And I think that question alone is such a catalyst for people to be like, shit, I need a plan. I need to figure out what I'm going to do. Because if you don't, what are we going to answer? I want to use this episode as a response to that question and to be kind of a template and security blanket for those who don't really know what they want to be next for their life. And even those who do, at some point, you were here too, and you will again enter a change where this question will be your most dreaded one. Okay, so actually, you guys, I sat down to record this, and I don't really script my podcasts. I'm not going to disclose the details of my prep work or how I go about it, but I never really fully script it. I want it to be very real, very personal, and me just talking to you all. But I was like, I'm just going to sit down and let my brain run and write down some points I really want to address and make sure I cover all the areas that I want to. And I wrote like 6 pages. Like 6 full pages written out of stuff I wanted to say. So if that doesn't emphasize the passion behind this episode, I don't really know what will. It's just such an area I feel strongly about and also something I'm going through currently, very much so. So to start, I just want to say it's okay to not know what you want to do. That should be emphasized first and foremost. Just because someone has a job or someone else has a good internship or a college decision or a signed lease doesn't mean you have to. Sometimes things come all at once. Sometimes they form little by little, and sometimes they don't come at all at this given moment, but they always come when they're supposed to. Also, life was not created to be planned out to a T. We get so caught up in that, and it honestly makes me so mad. We were meant to live, not stress and work and plan. Just live. Society kind of constructs this sort of timeline and allowable scenarios that if you don't fit into those, you're looked at funny or anxious that you need to figure something out. Society doesn't really seem to allow room for consideration or errors or just life to happen. Like, oh, you don't have a family and a stable job by age 27? Oh, you're shit out of luck. What are you doing with your life? You're not going to college or grad school? Well, then you have a set plan on how to achieve a livable income and a 401k and a retirement by age 60, then, right? Right? You've got to have that. Like, talk about pressure. How can any student at any age not feel pressure to know their strengths and weaknesses and what major to pursue? Society leaves no room for that middle ground of everything. It seems as if it's either this or that. And that is so annoying because the best moments are honestly the ones where you just don't have expectations of a plan and you just kind of let things happen. You allow opportunities to arise naturally. You can talk to any successful professional and they'll tell you that their path was not always linear and not always planned out, but they went in the direction they felt called them and things followed suit. I feel like it's hard to compare ourselves to others either in our grade level or our peers or people we're surrounded with and not feel like, wow, their life just has this perfect trajectory. It's been plain and simple, all planned out for them. And then you look at yours and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. My life is chaotic. My plan is all over the place. That is okay. You actually don't need to have everything planned. Life's secret, okay? Don't have everything planned. Let some things happen. You'll be happier, I promise. Also, and I talk about this all the time in different areas of life, but once you start working, you will be working for the rest of your life. That's how life is sort of designed. Like, there isn't gonna be this huge gap of time where you can just go away for a year to travel. Once you work your way up for a company, it's harder to leave because of the salary increases or benefits and just the train of promotion and the corporate ladder and all that stuff. It's much harder to leave. And on top of that, you won't want to leave. You will be in that mindset and fully invested in your job, in your career, and as you should be. You should be focused on what you're doing. So before you dive into all that, why don't you take advantage of the rest of your life while you're still young and your body allows for it? Work will always be there, and don't stress, there will be a job that you are more than qualified for. So why are we rushing to start the routine that will become the rest of our lives? And also, side note, we tend to overcommit to life anyways. Like, what the hell is up with that? We feel that being busy and achieving one best thing after the next will just justify our existence. And that's not saying there's something wrong with achieving things or being busy. I like to be busy. I like to have stuff to do all the time. But then we get overwhelmed and we get stressed and we lose the simple pleasures of just laying low and enjoying life for what it is. Okay, so now what? You're like, Katie, I get it. I love living in the moment and this limbo time that I'm in, but I'm itching to have a plan and don't know what to do. Okay, well, to start, why don't you ask yourself, what do you want to do? We forget to ask ourselves that, and we get so caught up in filling out applications or sending out resumes that we don't even realize if it's what we want. And on top of considering what you've always wanted to do, maybe think about where you've always wanted to be. Where have you wanted to live? Where have you envisioned your life? What dreams do you have? Kind of look at all of those. You have to realize that anyone listening to this, no matter what stage of life you are at, but kind of talking from my own perspective as a graduating senior in college, you're at a cool spot, especially if you are graduating high school or college. You get a clean slate, a fresh start, and you can start over anywhere you want. You really can. And I know, money is a huge factor. It is for absolutely everyone. But honestly, cheap travel and cheap housing is out there. And when you find or do some research on how to manage those costs, life becomes, in a way, a lot more attainable. It feels like you have this independence. You can do whatever you want. This freedom is yours. And there are so many ways or options to afford what you want to do. But I'm not here to give you all financial advice. Lord knows you shouldn't be taking it from me anyways. I'm just telling you it's possible, and don't let the cost of everything restrict you right off the bat. Anyways, where do you want to be? What do you want to do? That's a good place to start when considering your future, because you get to a point in your life where you realize you can actually do those things. You don't need your parents or your friends or your peers' permission. You can do what you want. You have Katie Baker's permission, which counts for all, so you're completely fine. What are you talking about? But your whole life, you kind of enter a school system, you go through elementary, middle, high school, maybe even college, and there is this sort of unspoken pipeline to get a stable job in your college town or your state or your hometown, or just hop right into corporate America. When you are graduating, there is so much pressure from people around you or people questioning you to have a plan with your life that you don't even look into all the options. Life is attainable if you just take a step back and consider what you want. I have a friend who, shout out, no free shout outs. I'm in the habit of saying that from Greeby and Steve, but she never really loved school. Even in high school, she knew that. She just knew it wasn't for her. And she always loved animals and had a passion there and just wanted to pursue that. She was literally always saying also how much she wanted to move to Florida and work with animals. And all of us in high school, as I'm sure anyone in high school is listening, it's like, dude, what the hell? Like, how are you going to do that? And 1 year into college, she was like, yep, this isn't for me. I'm not happy. I'm going to do it. She's now a vet tech in Florida, an absolute beast. She's happy. She's thriving. She's making money. And I know for her, that process wasn't just a day decision and then a happily ever after. There was conflict. There was a hell of a lot of difficulties that came with starting over, especially in a new state. But she did it and she loves it. And that isn't to say drop out of high school or drop out of college. Like, come on, seriously, the best 4 years of my life. But it's proof that you don't need to stick to the status quo or the mainstream way of life. My cousin who, geez, here, we got another story. I just got a lot of cool people in my life, I guess. But my cousin graduated college and is a super smart dude. He had a great job lined up, and then the pandemic kind of screwed him over. So he was interviewing and going back and forth, and he got this great job lined up. And it was with a startup company where he is now working his way up within it. And it wasn't really his intention to do what he is doing now or to work here, and necessarily wasn't what he envisioned for his life. But since the job is completely remote, every 3 months or so, him and a couple of his buddies get an Airbnb in a new location and just live there and work for a couple months. They were in Florida at a point. I think they were in Lake Tahoe at a point. They're just skiing, surfing, going all over. And it's the perfect way to take advantage of new cities and places while not having to worry about job stability. He wasn't sure if the job was something he wanted to do as a career or even in general, but he took full advantage of it, and it turned into an opportunity to do something that he wanted. So yeah, guys, life is customizable. If we were all born to follow the same life and career trajectory, why do we all have unique talents and qualities and interests? The world needs you to do what you do. Holy shit, this feels like a TED Talk. I'm just sitting in this empty studio talking to myself and into this microphone, and I'm not intending to get super deep, and it's really humbling when I'm screaming like, the world needs you. Go do what you want. And I'm just sitting here kind of talking to myself. But yeah, life is customizable. There are just so many different cool fields. Seriously, guys, different cool locations, careers, opportunities out there to do what you want. So why worry about hopping right into a job that you know isn't it? We don't even realize what's all out there. So why are we going all in before even considering the rest of the world? And again, this goes for college and high schoolers too. All my little homies listening wherever you are in life, if you are a senior in high school or even a freshman or sophomore in college and you have interest in multiple areas, let me be the poster child to tell you to take classes on them. Like, seriously, college can be so daunting, and as if there is one path trajectory in classes that you need to take or you won't graduate in time. That is literally so false. If you mess around for 2 years and, really don't care or don't pay attention to your classes or your degree, Yeah, that's a different story. But a couple classes are not going to throw you off. You have to take gen eds in college and courses in different topics. So use those to your advantage to learn something about something different that you want to. You have to take these classes anyways to graduate, and why not just take advantage of your education? When else are you going to be able to be taught about a variety of different subjects at your discretion? I may be an extreme example of this because I love school and I love to learn, but freshman year, I wanted to learn about sports communications. But then I took a genetics class and I love genetics. I also knew I loved to write and just had a leadership kind of quality and a knack for all things marketing and business strategy. So I started my journalism and communications route. Then I wanted to learn about kinesiology and psychology, the way the body moves, the way it regulates itself. And I love to work out. So I thought, why not learn more about it? After taking each of those classes, I realized it was awesome, but not worth pursuing it for me. I didn't see a career in the long run, and that was fine, but I still knew the basics. My sophomore year, I wanted to study legal studies. I also wanted to study nutritional sciences. I was all in the health and fitness stuff still. And all this while I had just gotten accepted into the journalism school. My schedule was so weird. There was like a political science class and then a criminal justice class, a nutri class, a journalism class. It was so odd, but again, even if it wasn't the career I wanted to go into, I was learning about it. Then I realized I loved legal studies and actually added on a criminal justice degree. And that's one cool thing about college too is there are majors that you can add on and you can major what you want. I'm not telling you to, but there are also minors or certificates that you can add on to kind of have specialty in different areas that you want to learn about. So I think take advantage of those if anything. Then I went back and forth with reporting. I obviously love to talk. I went back and forth with sports broadcasting, with marketing again, and now I am a senior with 2 certificates or minors, one in sports communication and one in criminal justice. Like, what the hell is that combination? It is simply not normal. But again, it's proof that you can do what you want to do, and there is room for that. I'm not adding on a semester. I'm graduating in 4 years. I was never restricted. And this isn't even to be like gloating about my education and all the shit that I'm adding on and have learned, but even my roommates in different fields have switched majors plenty of time. It's so normal. 2 of them switched their major sophomore year and one again at junior year. That is completely fine. How can any of us be expected to know what we want to do with the rest of our lives at age 18? We can't even legally drink alcohol yet or rent a car, but you have to make a decision on which career path will be the most personally and financially rewarding when you're 50 years old? Dude, what? What is that logic? So I'm kind of here to debunk that, to tell you that you don't need to know what you want to do and you will make it out just fine. If you have an interest, it doesn't hurt to learn more about it. The worst thing that happens is you find out it wasn't for you, which happened to me with 95% of the careers I thought at one point I wanted to pursue. So that's one thing I really want to emphasize. If you don't know what you want to do with your life, if you don't know what you want to go on and study, or if you want to go to grad school, or if you want to go right into the workforce, that's okay. You're not supposed to have it all figured out. And lastly, I want to emphasize, don't fucking rush growing up. Why do we do that? Everyone is always so quick to want to grow up, and I just don't understand it. There is nothing for you there at all right now. What you think is going to be so great or what you are looking forward to doesn't really exist right now. Like, oh, I can't wait to be able to drive, or I can't wait to move out and live alone and start a new job. Those things simply don't exist. The future literally does not exist. So why are we wishing away the present? Yes, you can hope, and yes, you can plan. I'm type A, totally get that. But you are right where you are meant to be, so focus more on being present in that moment. Because where you are right now, let me tell you, is where you are going to miss being in a few years. There's this quote by Rupi Kaur. Oh my gosh, Rupi Kaur. Did anyone else ever religiously read that Milk and Honey book? That was a basic bitch's dream in like 2017, I swear. That was like the shit. But this quote says, I will never have this version of me again. Let me slow down and be with her. So, yeah, guys, listen to my homie Rupi Kaur and just slow down. You're never going to be this version of yourself again. You will never be at this stage of life again. There's no need to rush that. So, you're probably wondering, what do I want to do with my life? I speak all this knowledge, but I don't really know. And that, again, is kind of coming from the passion of why I chose this topic and why I'm speaking on it, because I don't even know. I always forget this is my podcast and, I can be vulnerable and everything. But yeah, I don't have a plan. I've had internships every summer leading up to this one. I've had various jobs, but people really don't realize that in most cases, jobs don't open up until they need someone at that moment. Internships are a different story, and accepting offers with known gaps or exceptions that you're planning is also another story. I'm not saying it's not possible, but a lot of times you can't plan ahead and be like, hey, I want this job in 6 months. Can I apply for it right now and you'll save that spot for me? It doesn't really happen. So yeah, I don't really know, and I don't really want to know right now. I'd rather take some time off and slow down and enjoy, being fucking young before I figure it out and work for the rest of my life. I also know that I have places on my list that I want to move to, that I want to live in. And do I have a job set up yet in any of those desired locations? Nope. But I know that I will. I know that I'm not lazy. And ultimately, I know that I'm a hard worker and go after what I want and trust that things will align. And I'm not trying to jinx that. Now I'm like scared that I just totally spoke that into existence and it's not going to work out. But I'm okay with not having that plan right now. I love this podcast, but I also love business. I love business strategy. I'm a very business oriented person. It's kind of how I grew up. I also love production and marketing, and we'll just kind of be looking into all those aspects. And also, it's okay if you just want to move somewhere just to live there and make rent off of a job like bartending or serving before you know what you want to completely do. That's fine. And honestly, a lot of those times you make bank at those jobs anyway. But my advice to anyone who doesn't want to have a plan yet and doesn't have one, but is kind of antsy to find one, network. I just switched the vibe of this episode completely. I sound like a career counselor session. I'm like, have you tried networking yet? Have you tried exploring the job search page? But actually, there are a lot of resources out there to help you. And the best one is just to network or connect with people who are in the area you want or in the industry you want to go. And that can go a long way. They can set you up, they can tell you about their experience, the pros and cons, or just give you connections. It never hurts to sit down and just talk with someone who has been in your shoes and has resources to help you out. It may give you a peace of mind also, especially if you really don't know what you want to do. But ultimately, don't worry about not knowing. It's okay to not know what you want to do, so stop rushing and stop worrying. You are where you are meant to be, and if you don't have an answer to the question, what's next for you? That's okay. You're just leaving room for what's meant to come. You'll be okay. Do not worry. All right, hot take section. Can you guys imagine if I made these hot takes just like super controversial? Like I just start out and I'm like, all right, guys, so hot take section, Donald Trump. Like that would be hilarious. I give this super inspirational podcast and I remain neutral and motivational, and then I just lay it down with an aggressively controversial hot take. I mean, I'm not gonna do that, but that would be hilarious. Anyways, my hot take is that I feel as if spring is underrated. I feel like everyone skips over spring and is like, summer is so amazing, summer's the best, spring sucks. But oftentimes I feel like the anticipation of summer and getting good weather after not having it for so long is just the best. Like you're so happy, you don't feel pressured to make the most out of these hot days. You're just kind of enjoying it and you feel free and it's great. And I know this is inspired by the nice weather that we're having today, but it's true, okay? I think that sometimes the anticipation of summer is better than summer itself. We're not all busy yet. Things are kind of wrapping up. There's a new season coming and it's just good. So I think spring is underrated And I think that people should enjoy spring more. It's happy, it's hopeful, it's great, and it makes me feel like I'm a child again for some reason. I don't know how. That is all I have for this week's episode. If you don't know what you want to do with your life, or you are debating, or you have multiple interests and don't know how to go about it, that is okay. I'm here for you, and I'm also in the same exact boat. So rest assured knowing that Katie Baker is on your side and also doesn't know what she wants to do with her life. But the merch is here, as you all know. Buy it today. I'll put the link in the description. It's also in my Instagram bio. Follow the Instagram at Scent with Emphasis. And as always, remember to own who you are, mean what you say, and whatever you do, do it with emphasis, baby. I will see you next Tuesday.